Hi, this is Trepacer. Welcome to Trepacer Saturday Reviews. And I watched the movie today, and I watched 1987's Innerspace. This was produced by Steven Spielberg, but directed by Joe Dante, Gremlins fame. There we go, Innerspace. This movie stars Dennis Quaid, Martin Short, and Meg Ryan, Kevin McCarthy, uh, Wendy Shaw, Harold Sylvester, Henry Gibson's in this as well. And basically, it's just a story of a pilot, test pilot, Lieutenant Tuck Pendleton, played by Dennis Quaid. He's a bit of a drunk, and he walks out of a program, his astronaut training program. And when the movie begins, he's a bit of a mess. He breaks up with his longtime girlfriend, Lydia Maxwell, played by Meg Ryan. And, she sort of leaves him after spending one night with him, last night with him. She breaks up with him and takes off. And then you fast forward 2 months later, and he's experimenting. He's volunteered for this experimental program where they're basically going to take him. They put him inside this capsule and they miniaturize him, and they're going to inject him into a rabbit, a test rabbit. Okay, that's the experiment. And of course, things don't go according to plan. And there's another character in this movie, Martin Short's character, who plays Jack Putter, who's a bit of a hypochondriac. He's always imagined that he's sick and that people are out to get him. And he goes to the doctor. They even show you in the beginning of the movie. He goes to the doctor, and the doctor tries to calm him down and tell him that he doesn't have this. He thinks he has all kinds of conditions that he really doesn't have. He's just a nervous person, and he works as a clerk in the supermarket. Okay, and basically, as the experiment goes on with Tuck Pendleton, uh, the bad guys break into the lab during the experiment after the experiment's taken place, and actually, before they get, they want to steal the technology, the miniaturization technology, and it takes, I think, these two little discs that make up the technology that you have to have both of them to do the experiment. They managed to steal one, and the other one is actually in the ship that Lieutenant Tuck Pendleton is in. So they need both of those items to actually effectively shrink and relarge things. So one of the scientists breaks out before they can get them, and he takes Jack, who he has in a syringe, and he runs, and he gets chased by the bad guys, and then of course he runs into who else? But Jack Putter, Martin Short's character, who's supposedly getting ready to go on a vacation, a stress-free vacation, as his doctor told him to have, and he gets accidentally injected by the dying doctor, who gets shot by the bad guys as he dies. And basically, from that point on, Jack Putter thinks he's he's haunted because he starts to hear Tuck Pendleton's voice, and Tuck Pendleton kind of figures out that he's not inside a rabbit, that he's inside a human, and he kind of communicates with Jack and tells him, listen, I was part of an experiment, and you basically have to go back to the lab and tell them what's happened. And of course, he does that eventually, and of course, the bad guys come after him, and he wants to actually, with the urging of Tuck Pendleton, who's Dennis Quaid's character is cocky son of a bitch. He kind of urges Jack Putter, to go on and basically try to find the other disc so he can, because eventually Tuck Pendleton, his oxygen is going to run out. Okay, so he needs to get the other disc, the other little disc thing, and so they can blow him back up to normal size. Okay, and then of course back into the story comes Lydia Maxwell, Meg Ryan's character, who's the ex of Tuck Pendleton, and she's also an investigative reporter, and they basically team up with Jack to basically find the other disc and to save Tuck. This movie is pretty good. It's it's a total '80s movie. I mean, you can pretty much tell it's an '80s movie just because there's one scene where they actually go to a club, and then you can just tell by the way people dress and all that stuff. But it's an '80s movie. But it's a fun movie. Martin Short, who's great at the physical comedy, okay, is this great, falling down, constantly getting up and falling down and getting up and dancing and acting crazy. And there's a great scene where he gets drunk, where Tuck Pendleton kind of encourages him to get drunk, and he starts dancing, and it's a great scene. And Martin Short is just great at the physical comedy and stuff. And Dennis Quaid, I thought, was really good too. It's Tuck Pendleton who's kind of urging Jack on to be more assertive and to stand up for himself. Okay, he's good too. And of course, Meg Ryan is the she's not your damsel in distress. She's actually proactive. She's helping Jack Putter, hopefully get the disc so they can, miniaturize Tuck Pendleton. And it's a fun movie, and definitely, and you got good bad guys in this. Kevin McCarthy is one of the bad guys, and Fiona Lewis is the other bad guy in the movie, and they're nice and wicked, so which makes the movie extra good. And it's a fun movie. It's it's fun. It has comedy, and of course, Wouldn't be a movie, of course. Jack starts to have feelings for Lydia, of course, and Tuck's aware of that as well. But it's a fun movie. It's fun for the most part. And Martin Short is hysterical and a great straight man. Basically, is what he's playing. Straight. He's not playing a straight man so much. He's doing a lot of the physical comedy, and I guess Dennis Quaid, who just like I said, his personality his personality, even though he's basically isolated, for most of the movie being inside of Jack, but he has enough personality, his character, that he kind of makes those scenes fun when they communicate. Him and Jack are communicating with each other. You don't really physically see you don't physically see them at the same time. It's a fun movie. Joe Dante did a really fun movie, and I really had a good time revisiting this because I haven't seen this movie in a while. Okay, I'm gonna give Innerspace a 7.5. I thought it was really good, entertaining, and definitely a fun watch. And definitely worth getting on Blu-ray. Okay, I understand it came on Blu-ray, I think, earlier this year, I think. Don't quote me that for sure, but it's finally on Blu-ray, and I'm happy to have it. It's definitely a good collection. Okay, a really good film, enjoyable, and family friendly. It's nothing too, it's one, I think, butt shot in there, but it's fairly, it follows its typical, 80s kind of movie formula. A hapless hero gets dragged into a situation out of his choosing, and then he has to emerge as a hero, and it's pretty standard fare, but it has the sci-fi action aspect of it, and I think the sci-fi elements are good for this, especially for its time. I think it's pretty good. Okay, so again, I'm giving it a 7.5. Definitely worth getting. Let me know what you think of Innerspace. If you've seen it, what do you think of it? Feel free to leave comments down below. And this is Trepacer saying so long and take care.